Okay, so here is part two from 5 Minute News with Anthony Davis. By the way, I just ordered this book, Lucky Loser: How Donald Trump Squandered His Father's Fortune. Check it out.
16 Nobel Prize-winning economists have sounded the alarm, cautioning that Trump's policies could reignite inflation and have a destabilizing effect on the U.S. economy. Unlike Trump, Kamala Harris has a concrete plan to tackle rising costs. Recognizing the surge in housing prices, largely due to a shortage of new homes being built since 2008, Harris proposes an ambitious plan to build 3 million new housing units across the country. Additionally, she wants to offer first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment subsidy to make home ownership more accessible. To combat high grocery prices, Harris is committed to cracking down on price gouging by food suppliers and supermarket chains. She also aims to address the rising cost of prescription drugs, building on Biden's success in reducing insulin prices to $35 a month for seniors. She's also pushing for a groundbreaking initiative to subsidize childcare, ensuring that no family spends more than 7% of their income on childcare costs. While Donald Trump is busy making false claims, blaming Kamala Harris for inflation, it's actually his economic policies that threaten to drive inflation even higher. And by attacking Harris, he's diverting attention from the fact that his own plans would push prices and make things worse for American families.
China, I don't object. Look, President Xi was, and I would say is, a very good friend. We broke up a little bit. You know, the way friendships break up, a thing called the China virus broke us up. I think that's understandable, right? Cost the world about $50 trillion and tens of millions of lives all over the world. I think that's a reason. But no, I've always had a very good relationship with him. Very, very strong, smart man.
One of the most significant yet less talked about legacies of Donald Trump is the dramatic increase in the national debt during his time in office. This financial burden will have long-lasting consequences, placing a heavy load on future generations, our children and grandchildren, who will be left to deal with the aftermath. Under Trump, the national debt surged by nearly $7.8 trillion. Now, to put that in perspective, this increase is almost double the amount that Americans owe in student loans, car loans, credit card debt, and all other non-mortgage debt combined. This translates to about $23,500 in additional federal debt for every person in the United States, courtesy of Donald Trump's mismanagement of the economy. In terms of the annual deficit, Trump's administration oversaw one of the largest increases in history, ranking third in terms of growth relative to the size of the U.S. economy. This significant rise in debt will be a lasting mark of his presidency, complicating efforts to manage the nation's finances for decades to come. Economists widely agree that significant deficit spending was necessary during the COVID crisis to prevent an economic collapse. However, the federal financial situation under Trump had already become precarious well before the pandemic hit. Despite a booming economy that he inherited from Barack Obama and historically low unemployment rates, a major contributor to this problem was Trump's 2017 tax cut, which combined with a lack of meaningful spending controls led both the deficit and national debt to skyrocket. So when the COVID-19 pandemic struck and the U.S. needed to inject over $3 trillion in stimulus to stabilize the economy, there was no financial cushion left. Trump's policies had already depleted much of the fiscal flexibility, leaving little room for error when the country faced this unprecedented crisis.
Oh, here is the deal that I will be offering to the world, to companies outside of our world, big companies, powerful companies that have become powerful because we were stupid. We were stupid. We allowed them to come in and raid and rape our country. That's what they did. Oh, you used the word rape. That's right. I used the word rape. They raped our country.
A report from the Nonpartisan Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, a non-profit group that focuses on fiscal issues, projected that the disgraced former president's proposals would increase the national debt by $7.5 trillion through 2035. It's normal for a country to run up debt and to service it, but Donald Trump has no idea what he's talking about regarding fiscal planning. He has no experience. He's only ever borrowed from banks and increasingly unscrupulous lenders. He famously stiffs every contractor that he employs by renegotiating their bill down after they did the work. He's a con man, a grifter.
I lose teleprompters probably 5%, 10% of the time. Sometimes I'll be in front of 50,000 people. I'll lose a teleprompter. You gotta wing it. You know what you gotta do.
His 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act made sweeping changes to America's tax laws. He signed it into law, and it was approved with only Republican support in both the House of Representatives and the Senate. And it permanently slashed corporate tax rates and changed the way the nation taxes the profits of U.S. multinational corporations, the only group that Donald Trump really cares about. Before the 2017 tax law was passed, Trump and his top economic advisors claimed that its benefits would trickle down, leading to significant gains for U.S. workers and their families and the broader economy. Trickle-down economics is a fallacy. It was invented by the people at the top to give the impression to their workers that their success would trickle down, except it never did. All it did was keep people quiet and keep people hopeful.
But we're going to bring it down, and we brought it down to 21. That made us competitive. Not the best at all, but competitive. Now I'm bringing it down to 15%.
Looking back, there is little evidence now that Donald Trump's corporate tax cuts delivered the promised economic growth or improved the well-being of most American workers. Instead, the law primarily benefited the wealthy and large profitable corporations, resulting in significant tax breaks for the richest Americans. This further exacerbated income inequality while also shrinking federal reserves that could have been used to address important national issues such as infrastructure, healthcare, and education. Three things that the Donald Trump administration cared nothing for.
So a lot of countries don't like me. I get always bad publicity. This one doesn't like me. Germany doesn't like me. A lot of countries don't like me. They say, who do you like better? Sleepy Joe Biden or Trump? Oh, I like Biden better.
If you think your finances were better under Trump, think again. That was Barack Obama's economy. Trump never mentions the pandemic coming along and worldwide inflation and supply chain issues and price gouging. He leaves all that stuff out. He just talks about the economy that he inherited from Obama's administration and takes the credit for it.
See, that's the real threat to democracy, stupid people. That's the threat. Our biggest threat to democracy is stupid people.
Trump tells you what he wants you to remember. And because he says it over and over again, some people have started to believe him.
I'm not gonna buy one of those suckers.
I'm Anthony Davis. You can catch me on the 5 Minute News YouTube.